I love murder in a book. I don't know why, but if it's got murder in it, then I'm down to read it. Hello friends, my name is Bintou and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a book haul of all of the physical books that are currently in my possession. Most of these are library books, but there are actually 2 books that I got from a local bookshop, and I'll talk about those later on in the video. I decided to do this. I had already filmed an August TBR, but at this point, we're like halfway through the month and it's just, there's no point in that going up. So instead, I'll do this haul video, which contains a lot of the books that I probably will read or have read already in August, and we'll finish some of the rest of the month off with. So let's get into those books. I have got a fat stack of books that I'm sitting around. So the first stack of books that I have here are books that I actually put on hold. So these are books that are on my TBR that I want to get through. The first book on that list was the Black Panther graphic novel. I talked about this in my Reading Rush TBR because I wanted to read it for the Reading Rush. I did not get my hands on it during that week, but I finally did get it, and so it is on my list of books to read. The next 2 are the graphic novels, March by John Lewis. So I have book 1 and book 2, and these are just graphic depictions of John Lewis's life. He's the civil rights activist that passed away recently. I've already read book 1, and I did vlog about this in my first ever reading vlog, and I'll link that above. It was fantastic. This was a 5 out of 5 read, and that's why I then put book 2 on hold, and I'm very much looking forward to starting this. Book 2 is a lot longer than book 1, and I think book 1 was focused on his like very early life and the sit-ins that came while he was in college, and I believe book 2 will get into the later part of the civil rights movement. So looking forward to starting this one. And then the last book on that stack is Driving While Black by Gretchen Soren. And this was recommended by a YouTuber who's not a booktuber, she's a teacher. So I follow her, and she mentioned that this was, she recommended this book. And it basically details the role that the automobile has played in African American history. I think including during the civil rights movement, as well as perhaps during the Great Migration. So this should be interesting. I've never read a book that focused on the specific role of cars during the civil rights movement. So looking forward to that. And actually another thing I'm going to work on while I'm reading this book is I want to film a video on how I annotate physical library books, because this is nonfiction, so I'm definitely going to be annotating this, but it is, again, it's not mine, so I'm going to have to return it. All right. My next stack of books are a set of contemporary romances. So again, going back to my vlog, my library is doing these surprise bags, and I picked 2 of them. So the first set that I picked were contemporary romances, and that came with 5 books. I have since read 4 of the 5, so I guess I'll do a quick wrap up as well. The Bride Test, this was the best of the stack by far. I love this. This was a 5 out of 5 read. The characters were fantastic. The story was great. My favorite part about the main character, Esme, is that she's such a fighter, and this romance novel didn't make her this like girl waiting for like Prince Charming. She was just a fantastic lead, and I highly recommend this one. I already have the Kiss Quotient on my Kindle ready to go, and I think I'm gonna start that tonight, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Love Her or Lose Her, this was about a 4-star read, and it was a book about a married couple. Actually, there were 2 of those. So the Bromance Book Club, this was also a book about a married couple. So they are having trouble in their marriage. In this book, it's because the husband is not talking to his wife very much. So they go see a marriage counselor to try to fix it. And in this book, the husband discovers something about his wife. She was faking something. And so he gets really mad and storms out. And now he wants to be back with her, and they have to sort that out. I liked this one more than this one. The reason it's called the Bromance Book Club is because he eventually joins this book club with his like bros, and they read historical romance novels to try to fix their love lives. So the premise in this was funny, and I would say overall this was funnier than this one. They were both okay. I believe I gave this one 4 stars and this one 3 stars. Overall, I enjoyed this one a little bit more. Then Red, White, and Royal Blue. I thought this was okay. I think I eventually gave it 3 stars. It was a fun read, but I just don't feel like I love the characters in this book as much as I did in like the Bride Test, for example. I was rooting for them. I'm generally always rooting for the characters in the books that I read, but I don't feel like the author made me care enough about them. Premise behind this book, we have a son of the current president of the United States, the first female president of the United States, so kind of like an alternate universe really, and then Prince of England. And at first they are enemies in a way, so they don't get along, and for publicity they're forced to kind of come together and make friends, which eventually develops into a romance. And overall the cast of characters were pretty okay. I still am glad that I read it. It is on the longer side for a contemporary romance. It's like 400, it's over 400 pages, and it is definitely the longest book on here in the contemporary romance category by far. But yeah, it was a good read. I would recommend it if you're thinking about picking it up. And then the last one here is The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. I haven't started this yet, so I don't know what this is going to be about. At this point, I'm not sure. I think I will get to this. I still have, like, these aren't due until like mid-September. So I still got plenty of time to read this if I choose to. I just haven't decided whether I will just yet. So that's a contemporary romance. And then I picked a bag of mystery thriller books, which is another one of my favorite genres. Now, I think more of the books in this were missed. I haven't read any of them, but I've looked up reviews on them so that I can decide which ones I want to start with, which ones are worth reading. And most of them weren't great, but the ones that were, so I've got the or just Stranger Diaries by Ellie Griffith. This was the most highly rated on this list of books, so I think I'm going to give this a try. And it sounds like the main character is a teacher who is also a writer, and there is someone bringing the murders that she writes about to life. So that should be fun. I love murder in a book. I don't know why, but if it's got murder in it, then I'm down to read it. Then there's this one, Matt Hilton, Painted Skins. This doesn't seem to be a very popular book. I didn't find a whole lot of reviews on it, but the few that there were very positive. So I think I'm going to read this one. It's a book based around an investigation, and again, I do like those kinds of books. So that's about what I know so far. Yeah, there's a private investigator looking for a young girl, but she's not the only one looking for her. And I assume I'll learn more once I start the book. This book, Wake Siren. So this cover is really pretty. And this was the third highly rated book on this list. So I'm planning to read this book as well. And I think this book is based on myths. There isn't any details specifically on what the book is about anywhere on the back cover, really. So not entirely sure yet, but again, most of the reviews were positive, so I am planning to read this one. And that leaves these three. So we've got The Earthquake Bird. This is apparently also a Netflix film, so this one was one that I'm planning to read, and if I do read it, then I will watch the Netflix film afterward. So this is, I'm currently planning to read. These two I'm not planning to read. The Toll and Ghosts of the Missing. They were pretty low rated books from what I could find on Goodreads and on Amazon. And usually I find that when the average for the book is 3, it's in the 3-star range, I typically don't end up liking it, and I don't want to spend time reading it if I'm not going to like it. So I think I'm gonna pass on these two, but most of the bag was a success. I'm going to read 4 of the 6 books that were in this particular bag. And that's it for the library books. I also did go on to visit one of my local bookstores. It's pretty close to me, and it's this family-owned bookstore, and I really want to support those kinds of stores a little bit more, and trying to couple that with the fact that I don't actually want to own physical books. I'm trying to figure that out. So like these books that I bought, and I'm going to get into them in a moment, I plan to read them, but I probably won't keep them, and I'm going to explain what I do with them in a future video. So the first, Beloved or Beloved. I don't know which one it is. Is it Beloved or Beloved? Yeah, I don't know. But this is a novel by Toni Morrison. So I read The Bluest Eye, I think it was last week, and that was the first ever book that I had read by Toni Morrison. And it was fantastic. That book just left me absolutely speechless. And I'm gonna talk more about it probably in my wrap up. But because of that, I decided that I need to pick up more Toni Morrison. So this was at the front of that bookstore. So I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna get Beloved/Beloved and see how this one goes. It's not as highly rated as The Bluest Eye was, but that's okay. I'm looking forward to reading more of her work. And then I bought Breath, The New Science of a Lost Art by James Nestor. What drew me to this book was this beautiful bright yellow cover. Yellow, fun fact, used to be my favorite color when I was in kindergarten. But this is a nonfiction book, so it's investigating breathing, the art and the science behind breathing, how we breathe. And I believe it also does take a cross-cultural look into breathing practices. So this sounds really interesting. Breathing for me, like intentional breathing, is something that I'm not very good at. It's probably why I hate yoga so much, because I can never breathe and do the things that they want me to do at the same time. It doesn't make sense to me. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. All right, guys, and so that is a wrap on all of the physical books that I currently have. I have borrowed more books from the library on my Kindle. You'll probably hear more about those whenever I actually get around to reading them. Overall, I'm pretty happy with these surprise books that I got, and I can't wait to jump into the books that I picked out and the 2 books that I bought as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.